Welcome to the debate. Every day, thousands of frustrated beginners hit the Go Live button, stare into a camera lens, and, well, they speak to an audience of exactly zero.
Yeah, an audience of literally no one. It's a crushing experience.
It really is. And the natural instinct is to take that silence personally, right? To assume the internet has collectively decided you are simply not interesting.
Right, like you're just inherently boring or something.
Exactly. But the reality is far more clinical than that. The biggest mistake creators make isn't a lack of charisma, it is a fundamental failure of presentation. I mean, they treat their broadcast like a live event, when mathematically almost every single view they ever get will come from a replay.
Right. And taking the ego out of that zero viewer count is a huge relief if you're a beginner drowning in that frustration. It shifts the blame from your personality to your process.
Yes, exactly.
But while diagnosing the empty room is one thing, prescribing the cure is where we fundamentally diverge today.
We do. Because the core question becomes, how do you actually get people into that room and how do you keep them there?
Right. So my position is that this is a purely mechanical issue. For a beginner trying to break through the noise, the absolute foundational requirement is strict structural mechanics. We are talking about algorithmic hooks, high momentum openings, and, formulaic clarity.
Okay, but
Just to finish the thought, without that rigid scaffolding, your passion is effectively invisible to the algorithms that actually control distribution. That's what I'll be arguing.
And I represent a completely different perspective. I look at that empty room and see a different root cause. While structural engineering is a useful tool, I argue that precise audience positioning and genuine, long-tail human connection are the true drivers of growth.
even without the mechanics?
Yes, because if you lean too heavily on algorithmic rigidity, you strip away the exact vulnerability and authenticity that makes live video uniquely compelling in the first place. You become just another marketer.
Well, let's think about this from the perspective of that beginner who just spent an hour talking to themselves. They usually have immense internal value to share, right?
Oh, sure, they know their stuff.
But they lack the translation layer. I mean, passion without packaging is just noise. The structural approach acts as that translation layer. It takes your knowledge and formats it so a highly distracted online ecosystem can actually consume it.
But is the ecosystem really just consuming formats?
Yes. When you fail to use proven title formulas, or when you ignore the pacing required to maintain a viewer's attention, you are actively working against the platform's mechanics. You have to engineer the stream for the replay viewer.
I completely disagree with that premise.
Why? If you don't play the structural game, your profound, authentic connection never even gets a chance to happen because nobody is there to see it.
I come at it from a completely different way. Structural optimization without a deeply understood, microscopic target audience is just a highly efficient way to reach nobody.
Reaching nobody efficiently.
Exactly. Finding an audience isn't about mastering the syntax of a clickbait title or like appeasing a retention graph. It's about profound specificity. It is about speaking directly to, say, struggling affiliate marketers rather than a broad, undefined demographic.
But you still need the title to reach them.
Sure, but a stream with just 2 viewers isn't a structural failure if those 2 viewers feel deeply seen. The unreplicable value of this medium is that people buy people. If you over-engineer the mechanics to satisfy a retention metric, you suffocate the humanity that actually builds long-term loyalty.
Okay, let's put that to the test with the very first thing that happens when you press Go Live, the opening.
The dreaded first 10 seconds.
Right. This is where beginners notoriously sabotage themselves by saying, let's give people a few minutes to trickle in.
Yeah, we've all heard that one.
From a structural standpoint, that is a fatal error. We know how the retention mechanics work across all major platforms. The algorithms ruthlessly measure those first 3 to 10 seconds to determine if the video is worth pushing out as a VOD, a video on demand.
Sure, the VOD matters, but
if you sit there staring at your second monitor waiting for a live audience, you create a massive drop-off in your retention graph. You kill your momentum and destroy the replay value instantly.
see, you are treating the live stream purely as a pre-recorded marketing asset.
Because mathematically it is.
But if the goal is a perfectly polished, highly edited video with a flawless 3-second retention hook, why go live at all? Just record a video.
Well, live is easier for a lot of beginners to execute.
But the live element is supposed to be raw. It is a conversation, not a tightly scripted Broadway performance.
I'm not convinced by that line of reasoning, because rawness is too often used as a convenient excuse for disrespecting the viewer's time.
Disrespecting their time, that's a bit harsh.
It is. Think of it this way. A live streamer waiting around in silence for an audience to show up is like a theater director refusing to open the curtains because the back row is empty.
Okay, that's an interesting analogy.
You are actively punishing the people who actually showed up on time. And worse, you are punishing every single person who clicks on the recording later. How can your authentic connection matter if the replay viewer clicks away in the first 10 seconds because you're fumbling with your microphone asking the chat if they can hear you?
I see the logic in the theater analogy. I really do. But the stakes of a live stream are fundamentally different than a stage play. It's actually incredibly forgiving.
Forgiving.
But the human viewer is. The inherent slight imperfections, the fumbling, the casual pacing, they prove that the event is happening in real time. They prove there is a real, fallible human being on the other end, not some polished corporate avatar reading from a teleprompter.
So you're saying bad pacing is a feature, not a bug?
I'm saying over-sterilizing the opening to appease the VOD viewer's retention graph risks making the content feel completely generic.
Look, there is a massive difference between an endearing slip-up and actively broadcasting dead air. The structural alternative isn't to be a robot, it's to open with immediate utility.
Define immediate utility for a beginner.
You start by saying, in this stream, I'll show you why your posts get no engagement and 5 simple fixes. You tell them what it is, who it's for, and why it matters before their kettle boils or their cat steps on the keyboard.
Right. The quick hook.
Because attention is incredibly fragile. You have to capture it mechanically before you can nurture it emotionally.
Attention is fragile, I'll give you that. But loyalty isn't built in the first 10 seconds of an artificially breathless elevator pitch.
It's not about being breathless, it's about being clear.
But if you are so terrified of dead air that you rush through a rehearsed hook, you miss the opportunity to actually settle into the room and establish genuine presence. The magic of live video is the shared experience in the moment.
But establishing that presence in the first 10 seconds assumes you've actually convinced someone to click in the first place. And that brings us to the packaging, the titling, and the scope of the stream.
Ah, titles.
Broad, unstructured titles are the absolute enemy of discovery. When a beginner is frustrated by an empty room, their first audit should always be their titles. Things like Monday live stream.
Or the dreaded Ask Me Anything.
Oh yeah, on Ask Me Anything, we are fully aligned.
Right? Because they provide zero context for the algorithm or the viewer.
If nobody knows who you are, they have absolutely nothing to ask you. It's the ultimate symptom of aimlessness.
Exactly. And the structural cure for that aimlessness is the strict application of formulas. Something like how to get result without pain point.
Okay, like Mad Libs for marketing.
Yes, but it works. For example, how to go live without feeling awkward. That formula isn't just a catchy phrase. It works mechanically because it opens a psychological loop in the viewer's brain.
A psychological loop.
Yes. When a human being sees a highly specific pain point paired with a promised result, they feel physically compelled to close that loop by clicking. The formula is the bridge. Without that psychological lever, your deep knowledge remains locked away in a vault.
That is a very compelling argument, but have you considered that the formula itself is entirely useless without a microscopic understanding of the target audience?
How so?
Well, the magic isn't in the syntax of the open loop. The magic is in the blanks you are filling in.
Are you saying the structure doesn't work?
I'm saying that knowing the formula, how to get X without Y, does not help you if you don't know exactly who you are speaking to.
Well, obviously, you have to pick a topic.
But it has to be deeper than a topic. The true fix for the empty room isn't learning a title format. It's doing the hard, often painful, psychological work of deciding your identity as a creator.
Which is daunting for a beginner.
It is, but you need a framework built on empathy like, this content is for X who struggle with Y and want Z. Take a highly specific avatar, like local business owners who want to become more visible without spending all day online.
Right.
If you lack that level of hyper-niche positioning, your perfect formulaic title will still fail because it lacks resonance. It will just sound like a million other marketers shouting into the void.
But the title forces the positioning. You cannot complete the phrase, why your content is not bringing in leads and how to fix it, without at least tacitly acknowledging a specific audience's pain point.
I think you can definitely fake it with broad terms.
But the rigid structure of the formula forces the creator out of their own head, out of their beginner anxieties, and into the mind of the consumer. It acts as a guardrail against vague thinking.
I'm sorry, but I don't buy that the structure does the heavy lifting there.
You don't think it helps at all?
I've seen countless beginners use those exact formulas and still broadcast to an empty room, precisely because they are using the structure to mask a lack of true positioning. They write, how to grow your business without stress.
Yeah, that's pretty generic.
Right. That is technically a formula, but it is effectively meaningless because it is entirely too broad. The real connection happens when you narrow the focus drastically down to that, struggling affiliate marketer looking to create more content on a budget. Radical specificity is what makes the stream discoverable, not the arrangement of the words in the title.
Okay, let's assume the positioning is dialed in, right? There is still the reality of what happens after the broadcast ends, because the structural requirements don't stop when you turn off the camera.
Oh boy, here we go.
A live stream's true value is rarely just the live event itself. Beginners stay frustrated because they view the end of the stream as the finish line. In reality, a structurally sound stream is designed from minute 1 to feed what we might call the content monster.
Ah, yes, the content monster. Because we all want to just chop our souls into shorts. The philosophy of endlessly chopping up your work.
It's treating content as an ecosystem rather than a singular event. You take that one live broadcast, use AI to chop the audio into a podcast, cut the video into shorts, transcribe it into blogs, and, push it to LinkedIn articles.
Right.
But here is the mechanical reality. You cannot feed that ecosystem efficiently with rambling, unstructured authenticity. To leverage AI effectively, the original stream must be built with discrete, actionable segments and crystal clear calls to action.
Like what?
Like download the visibility checklist or join the community forum. If you don't bake that architecture into the live stream, the downstream content is completely useless. It's just noise.
This is exactly where the structural approach becomes actively dangerous for a beginner.
Dangerous? Come on.
I mean it. Using AI to chop an unstructured or even a highly structured but soulless stream is like putting a bad soup into smaller bowls. It doesn't make it taste better. It just creates more of a mess.
But it increases surface area for discovery.
But this hypermetric, obsessed view of success, feeding algorithms across 10 different platforms, is precisely what causes creator burnout. It completely ignores the unscalable reality of how audiences actually form.
Well, how do audiences form if not through scalable algorithmic reach?
They form through profound human connection, which, honestly, often looks like a failure if you are judging success by immediate scalable metrics.
Give me an example.
Well, if you do a live stream and only 2 people watch, but one of them genuinely connects with your message and joins your community, that stream is not a failure. It is a seed.
Okay, a seed. But a seed needs distribution to grow.
Consider the scenario of a creator making a very specific pure value tutorial. Say, setting up an iPhone for screen mirroring. Over a year later, it suddenly starts getting massive views.
Right, the slow burn.
Yes. That doesn't happen because it was chopped into a TikTok short by an AI tool and blasted across platforms. It happens because it nurtured a slow-growing seed of genuine utility. AI cannot replicate that. People buy people. Trusting in the unscalable value of human connection will ultimately outlast any immediate content chopping strategy.
I see why you value that slow burn, but let's examine the mechanics of that exact iPhone mirroring example.
Go ahead.
It didn't succeed a year later just because the creator was being authentic. It succeeded because it was a highly specific, structurally sound solution to a persistent technical problem.
It had utility, yes.
It had immense utility. It was a structured demonstration. The human element is the core, absolutely. But the technology and the structure are the amplification. If a beginner refuses to play the structural game, if they refuse to use attention-holding phrases, clear steps, and discoverable titles, they are effectively choosing to keep their valuable solutions invisible to the people who need them most.
I hear you, but there is a massive difference between utilizing a technique and becoming subservient to it. If your entire stream is just a series of psychological hooks designed to string a viewer along until you pitch them a checklist, the audience feels that transaction.
Well, if it's done poorly, sure.
It feels cheap. When you focus deeply on the specific identity of the person you are trying to help, the structure naturally follows the empathy. Empathy dictates that you don't waste their time. Empathy dictates that you offer them a helpful next step. You don't need a rigid, artificial framework if you fundamentally understand the human on the other side of the lens.
But beginners, almost by definition, do not have that innate understanding yet. They are overwhelmed by the silence of the room. The structure provides much needed safety.
It's a crutch.
Maybe, but let's synthesize this. For a frustrated beginner staring at a zero viewer count, the most immediate way to alleviate that anxiety is to lean heavily on structural mechanics. It removes the paralyzing guesswork.
Okay.
By utilizing snappy, momentum-driven openings, formulaic titles that open psychological loops, and frictionless calls to action, you remove the mechanical barriers that prevent your target audience from discovering you. Structure isn't the enemy of authenticity. It is the vehicle that delivers it to the algorithmic ecosystem.
And while I acknowledge that structure can provide a temporary scaffolding for an anxious beginner, the true antidote to an empty room is radical specificity. Relying entirely on catchy syntax or AI content chopping is a distraction from the real foundational work.
The positioning.
Yes, knowing exactly who you are speaking to, having that microscopic audience identity, and valuing the slow, authentic growth of human connection over immediate algorithmic validation is what builds a sustainable presence. Two viewers who genuinely resonate with your vulnerability are fundamentally worth more than 1,000 empty views on a highly optimized short.
I think where our perspectives clearly converges on the absolute danger of aimlessness.
Oh, absolutely.
Vague, directionless content, whether it's the ask me anything from an unknown creator or sitting in silence waiting for a crowd to form, is the ultimate enemy of growth, regardless of your philosophy. Deep intentionality is non-negotiable before hitting that go live button.
Completely agreed. Whether you approach your broadcast through the lens of structural engineering or empathetic positioning, you must have a clear intention. You have to know your why and your who before you can even begin to optimize the how.
So, for those listening who might be wrestling with their own digital visibility, it is worth auditing your recent output. Are you struggling because your mechanics are sloppy? Your titles don't open psychological loops and your openings kill momentum?
Or are you struggling because you haven't done the difficult, introspective work of defining exactly who you are talking to?
Or perhaps a combination of both. Navigating that delicate balance between architecture and soul is the ongoing work of any creator.
It definitely is.
We leave it to you to draw your own conclusions. But the next time you press that button and see the glow of the red live indicator, remember that the silence on the other end isn't a verdict on your personal worth. It's just a problem waiting to be solved.